back. We're being joined on the program by the Deputy Spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Mr. Philip Agbese, joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Agbese, thank you so much for your patience and for coming on the program. And so let's get straight to it, if you can hear me clearly. The issue of the budget. I know you had a presser, if I'm correct, talking about how the chambers of the National Assembly, perhaps speaking for your own chamber, the Green Chamber, will scrutinize the new amendment that the President is seeking to the Appropriation Act of 2024, which stood at 28.7. Now with this, we'll be talking about 34.9 trillion, because there's an injection of about 6.2. So maybe help us break it down, and what exactly is in the content of this particular appropriation amendment?
Yes, first and foremost, let me state that, yes, like you Nigerians are aware, the House of Representatives, by large, the National Assembly is in receipt of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill, which is before us for amendment, the 2024 Supplementary Budget. Now, what we have at the moment, what Mr. President sent to us, is 3.2 trillion naira for capital projects, and another 3 trillion naira to be able to address personnel issues. I think the obvious facts are are open. They are out in public domain. First and foremost, we want to commend as a parliament Mr. President for yielding to the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira to help in ameliorating the sufferings and pains of our constituents across the country. It is indeed true that Nigerians are suffering, and as a parliament, we are all working very hard to see that we cushion the effect of the global economic challenges that we are facing today as a country. So, in the wisdom of the executive led by His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has seen the need for us to amend the law, the initial act, which we had passed and he had assented to before, to make extra budgetary provisions, to tackle critical issues like infrastructure, interventions in the health sector, education, and other engagements that will help, to make life better for our citizens. So, as a parliament, upon the receipt of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill, we have committed it into the Committee of Appropriation led by Right Honorable Kabiru Bichi. The committee has set into motion, their necessary rules and their modus operandi to engage with the executive to scrutinize the document as submitted by Mr. President. As a parliament, we have received it, and it is our covenant with the Nigerian people that we're going to make sure, that every single kobo of the masses that will be spent in terms of appropriation and execution of project in the country will count towards, making life better for our citizens. I can confirm authoritatively to you that the Committee on Appropriation, under the leadership of Kabiru Bichi, is already working. They've had series of meetings. They'll be meeting tomorrow, and I know of a fact that on Monday they'll be meeting meeting with the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget Planning, the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, and all the concerned agencies, to look at the document.
All right, Honorable just so that I can butt in and ask a few more questions. So, the first quick one, is this a supplementary appropriation act, or is just an amendment to the 2024? What exactly is this?
Yes. The question you asked, the answer is very simple. I think in public domain, the way Nigerians understand it, it is usually called supplementary. That is something in addition to what is already in existence. In parliamentary language, it is called an amendment, because we are looking at it is actually an amendment, because we already have something which is already in existence. It is not a new budget, it is the old budget for 2024, which Parliament had done due diligence on before now, and which Mr. President had signed into law last year. that we are working with. So it is an amendment. And if you also call it a supplementary bill, I think it is also right. It's also correct.
So technically, we may be having 2024 budget, 2023 supplementary, which is still in operation till December 2023, the main act itself, which is still in December. So 3 budgets side by side at the end of this. So my question will be, as far as this particular budget is concerned, have you been privy, or the members have been privy to see some of the specific line items that these things are meant for? So that I am asking that question based on the fact that let's see whether the prioritization is right. Because I know that, for instance, the recurrent may be trying to catch up with the new amendment to the wage bill, minimum wage, to accommodate for more monies that will be spent. So, but you speak, you're the one in charge of document.
Yes, we have the document before us, but I think what the Committee on Appropriation is doing at the moment is to invite the Honorable Minister. What we do basically as a parliament, the People's House under the leadership of His Excellency Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas is a parliament of rules and procedures. So in line with our procedure at the moment, what we have done is to commit that document to the Committee on Appropriation. On Monday, the Committee on Appropriation is going to unveil the entire document, to Nigerians and to its members. I'm sure members of the Committee on Appropriation already have, these details. But on Monday, as a parliament, we will be scrutinizing the line items. However, let me add that in the wisdom of Mr. President, the issues have already been stated. Today, we already know, some of the basic challenges that we're having in the country. And in the wisdom of His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief, he has seen, that the work currently going on across the country and the situation that we are being confronted with. For instance, the Ministry of Agriculture, we have seen some of the lofty reforms that are being carried out in the agricultural sector to further inject and support, the livelihood of fellow countrymen and women. So I think basically for now, I would say that this issue, the budget is addressing issues in agriculture, works, health, and education. By Monday, we are going to unveil the entire document for all the members and for all Nigerians, because we're also inviting Nigerians to come and participate in the public engagement between the parliament and the ministers on Monday.
There's a couple of questions I want to throw to you, but as parliamentarians, I'm wondering what is the yardstick for you to look at? Because most of the time when we see executive send bills to the National Assembly, they hardly reduce it. In fact, they jack it up a couple of the time. So sometimes you wonder, did they really look? For instance, if you're getting Ways and Means advances from the Central Bank of Nigeria, from the government wants to fulfill some short obligation, there is a law that says we can only give you 5%. And for you to take another one, we would have seen that your revenue has gotten to 5% of your previous year's revenue before we give you another one. And you have to pay the one that you're owing before we can give you another. The reason I'm explaining all of this, sometimes to Nigerians, it doesn't look like there's proper scrutiny. What can happen that the parliament will say, no, President, we can't give you up to 6 trillion. We can give you 5, we can give you 4 because of this, that, and the other. Because always you can take everything, get it done.
Yes, under the concept of separation of powers, our duties and functions are clearly stated in the law, in the Constitution. The document that His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief has sent to the Parliament is not for the Parliament, to adopt the document. It is for the Parliament, in its wisdom, to look at it. And that is why Parliament has the power to look at it, scrutinize, and aside scrutinizing, we equally, as a parliament over the last few months, we have entertained motions and debates, on the floor of the House, where parliamentarians, in their own wisdom, also feel that there are certain critical issues that Mr. President, the executive, must tackle in order to address issues that are confronting their constituents. So in doing that, and professionally, when we also bring in our experts, who will be working with the Committee on Appropriation, they will equally be looking at the projection. And that is why the explanation that the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and Planning, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Minister of Works, Honorable Minister of Health will be coming to give to Parliament on Monday, will form the basis on which Parliament will form its own decision as to increase, decrease, or to leave it as it stands. But as a parliament that is committed to transparency and accountability and probity, to ensure that every single penny, every single kobo of the Nigerian people counts, of the taxpayers' money counts, towards the well-being of the citizen, is to ensure that items that have already been listed in the original budget, which has been passed, do not resurface in the next budget. Mr. Speaker, has equally made it very clear, times without number, that this parliament is going to support the executive to the extent that what we do counts towards the interest of the common masses.
The reason I'm asking all of that is the injection of funds doesn't necessarily solve all the problem. It's how it is implemented at the end of the day. Because let me ask you a straight question. Because the government has been here barely a year, but the APC government was there for 8 years before that's prior to the PDP government for 16 years. And there are so many things going on. People are hungry, people are angry, people are tired of promises. People want to see action in the short term. Some people are trying to raise a campaign, end bad governance, and all of that. In your view, as a parliamentarian who represents the people, is Nigeria working in your view?
Yes, to say the country is working, in my view, I think is to agree, with the popular notion, of well-meaning citizens of this country and people who are well-informed, people who know how nations are bettered and the growth and development of nations. You see, the current challenges that we are having at the moment, yes, they are with us. We're going to live with them for a couple of months. But we believe, again, that government is, government is instituted in the first instance to solve problems. So Nigerians, saw to the need, to bet a new government in 2023 when His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was voted into office to serve and solve problems. And again, as a parliament, we are also here to solve problems. So the problems have been with us. They are going to be with us for a long time. The cardinal issue at the moment is that what are we doing, to tackle these problems? And in answering that question, let me point it clearly that after passing the budget, after scrutinizing the details of this budget, as a parliament, we are committed to probity and accountability. We are going to use our oversight responsibility as a parliament to ensure that we follow in details, the execution of the projects that have been listed in this budget. For instance, our Committee on Work, Committee on Education, in fact, almost all the committees of the House of Representatives at the moment are out on oversight function to ensure that even what we have approved in the previous budget are being accounted for by the executive. And as a matter of fact, we'll give it to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that so far so good, things are on track. So the problems that we are facing,
Mr. Saliu, my apologies, Mr. Agbese, I wanted to quote Mr. Saliu I'm coming with a statement he made on this particular issue. You say things are on track. I'm not going to debate that with you, but things are quite difficult for Nigerians. So let me show you what Mr. Saliu, a former APC vice chairman Northwest. So if you guys can hold it, say so as long as APC's leadership and Asiwaju Tinubu's government have taken the self-destructive path, which is equivalent to a declaration of working end their tenure in 2027, patriotic Nigerians must help them to ensure their defeat in 2027. So this is a statement from a former member of your party, but it was actually responding to the the removal of the Senate Chief Whip, Ali Ndume, when he spoke about the state of the polity. Which is why I'm asking you that question. Because you're the people's representative, you should be able to hold the powerful to account and the government, the executive, to account.
Yes.
So that's
yes,
what I'm saying. Things are difficult.
Yes, let me quickly address that. Yes, let me quickly address that. The parliament is not in denial of the current situation. We are not in denial. Just yesterday, the parliament, the House of Representatives resolved, to cede 50% of members' monthly salary for the next 6 months, towards supporting humanitarian issues in the country. We're a parliament that is committed under the leadership of His Excellency Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. We are committed, towards enhancing, to even make life better for the common citizens of this country. Nevertheless, let me, just spend a minute to talk about our former leader, Mr. Saliu Lukman. Mr. Saliu Lukman is a character that is well known to many Nigerians. He's one who, is an island, a wise man who exists, the only wise person who exists in this country. Mr. Saliu believes that once things are not going his way, or he doesn't have it the way he wants it, then everything is wrong. Look at his days as a Director General of the Nigerian Progressive Governors Forum. Not much was done. He was in the APC for a very long time until he started having issues, with initially his issue in the APC, because we are members of the same political party. His issue in the APC initially started when he failed to secure nomination as a minister by the current government. So basically what I want to say is that I think Nigerians, our thinking, our positions as stakeholders, our positions as leaders of this country should not necessarily be about where we stand, about how well things
if I may butt in because of time, my apologies. The truth and the reality is that Nigerians are fatigued, as you have acknowledged. Governments have come. Just hold on. Nigerians are fatigued. Now, whether the messenger has a moral issue to deal with is a different kettle of fish. But I try to stay with the substance of what was raised, which is that there's hunger in the land, there's hardship. And as a spokesperson or a deputy spokesperson of the House, I'm asking you what exactly you're doing to ameliorate the challenges that people are facing beyond the things we see that are not really moving the needle.
Yes, you see, the first step that we have taken, hunger is one of the numerous challenges that we are facing as a nation. We're equally having a security crisis, which Mr. President is tackling. We have all agreed, on a consensus that yes, there are problems as far as the country is concerned. And we are, as leaders, and carrying out, functions and responsibilities that would help, not just to provide palliatives. I've said this before, that the National Assembly under the leadership of Senator Godswill Akpabio and Tajuddin Abbas, we are out to collaborate and partner with the executive to the extent that we're able to solve a good number of these problems. We have problems in infrastructure. We are tackling those problems by ensuring that new roads are being created. Mr. President is working, and as a parliament, we are collaborating, we are supporting, we are following up on what Mr. President is doing. We, as a parliament, have the duty of oversight to scrutinize, to see how the executive is carrying out these things. If in the past, the parliament had worked in this line that we are working today, I'm sure some of these problems would have been solved.
Mr. Agbese, I must thank you for coming on the program. There's going to be a lot of conversation because I follow the numbers a lot when it comes to the economy. I like numbers and I follow it, and I can tell you they don't look good. But we hope and pray it will get better. Thank you, Mr. Philip Agbese, Deputy Spokesperson.
The number will get better. We are working.
Spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Thank you, sir, for your time and patience. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.